Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're diving into something that's a real game changer for anyone in Singapore who wants to grow their savings, but, without all the stress and risk. Yep, we're talking all about Singapore savings bonds, or as you'll often hear them called, SSBs.
Okay, let me ask you something. Do you ever look at your bank account and feel like your money is, well, just sitting there, maybe even losing a bit of its buying power day by day? It's a tough spot to be in, right? You want your savings to grow, but maybe you're not quite ready to jump onto the roller coaster of the stock market. So what's the answer? Where's that sweet spot?
Well, that's exactly the problem Singapore savings bonds were designed to fix. They're a really special kind of bond from the Singapore government, made just for regular folks like you and me. The best way to think about it, it's like getting a decent return on your cash with this massive, super strong safety net from the government holding you up.
So what makes these things so special? First off, they are pretty much the safest thing you can put your money into. I mean, they're fully backed by the Singapore government, which has that top-of-the-line AAA credit rating. You can keep your money in for up to 10 years, but, and this is the real kicker, you can pull your money out any month you want. No penalties, no hassle. Plus, the interest rate you earn actually goes up the longer you hold them. And get this, all that interest you make is completely tax-free. Pretty sweet, right?
Okay, let's talk about that step-up interest for a second, because it's a brilliant idea. It's super simple. The longer you leave your money in, the higher the interest rate you get. It's basically the bond's way of saying, hey, thanks for sticking around. Here's a little extra for your loyalty.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. Let's take an example from a recent SSB. In the first year, you might get a rate of, say, 1.56%. But if you hang in there for the full 10 years, your average return for each of those years climbs all the way up to 1.93%. So yeah, your patience literally earns you more cash.
All right, so you're probably thinking, this sounds good, but is it a pain to set up? And the answer is, not at all. The whole thing is designed to be super straightforward. Let's break down exactly how you can get started.
So first things first, what do you need? It's a pretty short list. You got to be at least 18. You'll need an individual CDP securities account. That's basically your personal digital safe deposit box run by the government where your bonds will be kept. You'll also need a bank account with either DBS/POSB, OCBC, or UOB. And the best part? You don't need a lot of money to start. The minimum is just $500.
And applying is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, you just apply through your bank's website, their app, or even an ATM. Seriously. Step 2, you chill out and wait for the allotment results, which come out near the end of the month. And step 3, if you get it, the bonds pop right into your CDP account on the first business day of the next month. Boom, done.
And you know what's cool? This whole process runs like clockwork. Every single month, a new SSB is issued. Applications open up on the first business day, they close towards the end of the month, and then the cycle repeats. So no stress, if you miss this month's window, there's always next month. Okay, so putting money in is easy, but what about getting it out? This, my friends, is where Singapore savings bonds really stand out. They've made getting your cash back just as painless as putting it in. So listen up, because this is the big one. You can cash out your bonds anytime you want in chunks of $500 with absolutely zero penalties. You get all your initial investment back, plus every cent of interest you've earned up to that point. Now, there are just two little things to remember. There's a tiny $2 fee for the transaction, and the money will be in your bank account by the second business day of the next month. So it's not instant, but it's incredibly flexible. Okay, so we know SSBs are great on their own, but how do they compare to the other usual suspects for safe savings? Things like fixed deposits or T-bills. Let's put them side by side so you can see what makes the most sense for you. Let's kick things off with the classic showdown, SSBs versus fixed deposits. And honestly, it all comes down to one crucial word, flexibility. With an SSB, your money is never held hostage. You can get it back whenever you need it. But with a fixed deposit, you're locked in. If you need to break it early, you can pretty much say goodbye to all that interest you were hoping to earn. This chart really tells the whole story. Look at security. Both SSBs and T-bills have that rock-solid government backing. Can't get safer than that. But then, your eyes drift over to the flexibility row, and bam, that's where SSBs just blow the others out of the water. Fixed deposits, your money's in jail. T-bills, you gotta wait till the end. But SSBs, you can get your cash back every single month. It's that combo of ultimate safety and ultimate flexibility that makes them one of a kind.
So after all this, we get to the most important question. Are SSBs right for you? And the truth is, it really depends on what you're trying to do with your money. Let's run through a couple of examples to see where they might fit into your life.
So what if you're a first-time investor? You've managed to save up some cash, which is awesome, but the thought of seeing that number go down, well, it's pretty scary, right? If that's you, then SSBs are seriously one of the best first steps you can take. There's almost zero risk of losing your initial money. You can dip your toes in with just $500, and the whole thing is so easy to understand. It's the perfect way to build up your confidence before you decide to explore other types of investments later on.
Okay, let's flip the script. Maybe you're not just starting out. Maybe you're getting closer to retirement and your biggest priority is protecting the money you've worked your whole life to save.
This is another area where SSBs really shine. For retirees, they check all the important boxes. First, they protect your capital. That's non-negotiable. Second, they give you a regular, predictable stream of income every 6 months. And it's tax-free, which is a huge bonus. And maybe most importantly, if life throws you a curveball and you need cash fast, you can get it without penalty. They're like a solid, stable anchor for your entire retirement portfolio.
Now, there is one big rule you need to know about. There's a limit to how much you can invest in SSBs. Right now, that cap is $200,000 per person. For most of us, that's a lot of money, but it's definitely something to keep in mind as you're making your financial plans.
And that brings us to this quote, which honestly just hits the nail on the head. SSBs are not a get-rich-quick scheme. That's not what they're for. What they are is an absolutely fantastic foundation for your money. They're perfect for anyone who wants a conservative strategy, and they are one of the best tools out there for parking your emergency fund.
So that's the whole story on SSBs, and it really just leaves one last question, and this one is for you to think about. Looking at your own financial situation, your own goals, what role could a safe, stable, and super flexible foundation like this play in your plan? Thanks so much for tuning in.